A listomania. Think less but see it grow.
Why hello everybody, it is the Lawn Gnome and welcome to the final episode of 10 for 12 for 2017. First of all, if you're new to my channel, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you, and to all of you returning, it's always great to have you back, especially when we do a top 10 list about something. Now, this specific one that I do at the end of each year is a reoccurring topic, because when it comes to a year ending and a new year beginning, I really like to reflect upon everything that happened this past year and see exactly what were the events that really shaped the country and maybe even the world, for that matter, in regards to the past events of the year. Now, I've got to say, the last 12 months, even though we're only in the 12th month right now, we have seen some crazy things happen, and this year went by so quickly. There was so much occurring, so much to talk about, and from what I could tell based on all of my research, I wanted to make sure that I encompassed just about everything. Politics, popular culture, sports, whatever it was, I tried to get it. And some of these events may not be relevant to you as far as not living where I live, but there are a couple of things locally that I also wanted to bring to everybody's attention. So before I get into the top 10 list, which is the 10 events that shaped 2017, I just want to say thank you to the people who have joined me on this collab, which are Kelsey from Hardback Haven and Brittany over at Brittany Reads. I'm really glad to have you both with me. You are both truly insightful YouTubers, and I'm really curious to see what events you have chosen for your 10 that shaped this year for you, or just for everybody in general. So let's begin with the 10 events that shaped 2017. The first one is something that happened locally in New York, and I also like to give these events little names, if you will, and I call this one The Train Kept Us Stallin'. If there is one thing that I hate about my job, working in the heart of New York City, is the commute. I can't stand the public transportation. This is a system that is over 100 years old, and there is so much work that needs to be done in regards to fixing it. But if there is one thing that really hit home with New Yorkers all around who were commuting into the city, it was what was known as the Summer of Hell. The Long Island Railroad and New Jersey Transit basically had to change all of their schedules, put less trains on the track because there were trains that just kept stalling, and it took people anywhere from 1 to 3 to 4 hours just to get home from their daily jobs, which was absolutely horrendous. So over the summer, in the blistering heat no less, these companies were basically fixing the railways to make sure that trains would be running more efficiently. But at the same time, subway issues have been occurring. There has been a lot of controversy between the governor of New York and the mayor of New York City, blaming people, pointing fingers, trying to figure out who the heck is going to fix these trains. What I don't want to see is another fare hike, because sure, when the fares keep going up to take a crappy subway system, eventually there's going to be nobody taking the subway system, and that'll give them plenty of room and time to actually fix the trains. But let's hope it doesn't resort to that. Number 9 is Fly Our Unfriendly Skies. You probably remember this, you probably don't. But remember that video that went viral of that doctor who was dragged off of a plane because they had to give his seat to somebody else, and after that there was a influx of other videos and other complaints of passengers who were being forced off of planes by airport security. It was absolutely shocking, but at the same time quite shameful. My wife and I are going to be going on a plane in February, and I'm hoping that we don't have to deal with craziness like this, because the airline reputation has definitely been stained because of this, and as of now, let's see what they can do to fix these issues. Number 8 is no circus to join. This was something that I never would have imagined would happen, and that is the fact that Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus had their very last performance in 2017. The circus no longer comes to town anymore, boys and girls, and if you want to run away, you can't join the circus because it doesn't exist. The circus industry has been under fire from so many different activist groups, saying that the animals were treated unfairly, saying that you can't have animals do stuff like that. It was all about the animals. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not someone who wants to see animals brutally beaten and abused, but I feel that people's lives are more important, and it's upsetting to me knowing that some of these people who are acrobats, people who are jugglers, people who like making kids laugh all around the world, have all lost their jobs now and their livelihood because they can't perform anymore. To a certain degree, I will also wave the finger at PC culture because I do believe that it is getting out of hand, and this also is including animal activism. Quite frankly, as a religious person, when God created man, he said to Adam, "These are the animals that are here for your benefit." So, why defy? You know? Yes, it's 2017, but still, we could still do better in regards to taking care of animals, especially if they are being used to bring joy to boys and girls all around the world. It was something that could be done, it was something that was very much doable, but obviously this is also a mixture of corporate greed and just not listening to what the people really want, and now it's all been dealt with, and now everyone who has to suffer consequences is suffering the consequences. Number 7, I hope this doesn't trigger a bunch of people, but it is going to have a statement in there that people don't like, and I call it "Baseball Makes America Great Again." Another event that we probably forgot. Did anyone remember the fact that the United States won its very first World Baseball Classic this year? A tournament that had been recently created a couple of years back where baseball teams all across the world faced each other in a massive tournament. And the US, of course, is always one of the most favored, next to teams like Japan and Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, etc. But the USA won this year, and it was such an uplifting thing. Even though there were so many tensions amongst people, those who were fans of this amazing national pastime did take the time to see this event happen, and I was so happy as an American and as a baseball fan to actually see the American team come out on top and really put a little bit of hope back into this country this year. Number 6 is, and the Oscar actually goes to. As entertainment fans, I'm pretty certain that you all remember this little event that took place at this year's Oscars ceremony. When La La Land was called up to receive the Oscar for Best Picture, all of a sudden, a whole bunch of people start swarming the Oscar winner saying, "There's been a mistake. La La Land does not get Best Picture, it goes to Moonlight, directed by Barry Jenkins." Now, was this a whole thing just to be a virtue signal? I don't think so. As someone who has seen both films, I totally understand why Moonlight won Best Picture, because quite frankly, its originality and its message is very much deserving of Best Picture. Not to say that La La Land was not a good movie, because La La Land is a fantastic movie revitalizing the old Hollywood musical, but it was a funny mistake. It's definitely something that I will never forget as a film fan, and quite frankly, I do believe when it comes to the Best Picture nominees, the right one won. And I'm still happy because my favorite movie of 2016, which was Zootopia, did in fact take home the Best Animated Feature Oscar, so no sweat off my back there. Number 5 is a man named Brady, and that is Tom Brady, quarterback of the New England Patriots. Now, I am a New Yorker, I am a Jets fan through and through, I can't stand the Patriots, and my God, as a person do I hate Tom Brady. But there is no way in hell that I will deny a player's greatness if that player really is one of the truly skilled and gifted players of a generation. As a Knicks fan growing up in the 90s, I despised and envied Michael Jordan all at the same time. And the same can be said about me being a diehard Mets fan. I will never in my days disrespect a player like Derek Jeter because he was one of the classiest baseball players of our generation. And the same can be said about Tom Brady. He took his team against an Atlanta Falcons team in the Super Bowl that was pretty much dominating the game throughout. But after the third quarter died down and the fourth quarter began, the Patriots picked up the game, and not only did they make an incredible comeback, they won the game. And Tom Brady was a major reason as to why the Patriots created one of the greatest upsets in all of sports history, and that is why Tom Brady, rightfully so, will go down as possibly the greatest quarterback of all time. time. Number 4 is a collective, and that is called Stay Strong Earth. And that is because of the fact that we have seen some of the most devastating terror attacks this year alone. Yes, there have been many terrorist attacks that have been happening over the past couple of years, but some of the ones that actually happened this year were definitely something that we never saw before, something that was completely unexpected, and just things that were really causing people to get terrified. This included the bombing at the Manchester Stadium after a concert of Ariana Grande. It includes the mowing down of people by a person in a Home Depot truck in Tribeca, New York. There were so many horrific events that took place this year in regards to fear, in regards to terrorism, and the most important thing that people need to understand is that this threat amongst livelihood really should be defeated. I know that it's also wrapped up in controversy and political correctness and policies and politics, but this is a real threat, people. Regardless of who commits the crime, it has to be taken care of. And this also includes all of the shootings that took place this year, like the one in Las Vegas, which was absolutely horrific. There were so many grim events this year, but we still stood above it, and we are never going to forget the victims of each and every one of these crimes. Number 3, another dark time in our nation's history this year, and that is what I like to call rock you like a hurricane. We saw a horrible, devastating hurricane season this year. Crazily enough, still not the one that gave us the most hurricanes. This just gave us some of the most brutal hurricanes, and that includes Harvey in Texas, Irma in Florida. Luckily, Florida didn't get what everyone thought it was going to get, but of course the devastating Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. People are recovering, people need help, people are also throwing their hearts onto the table to donate whatever they can to help these people rebuild their lives, and that is a very powerful thing to see the nation and even the world coming together to help all of these victims of hurricanes in this country. I'm hoping that next year will be a much more quieter hurricane season. I mean, look, as a victim of Hurricane Sandy, we did survive and we did rebuild. Luckily, I didn't get hit as hard as most people, but I did lose power for about a week, and work wasn't easy to deal with because of that hurricane. But we did manage to rebuild, and I think we're stronger for it. Number 2, oh boy. The film fan in me is really upset about this, but the conservative in me is grinning from ear to ear, and I call it celebrity dirt. This disgusting culture of sex offenders, people committing sexual assault, people treating men and women alike like sex objects and making them do horrible things, shameful things, for the sake of making it in the Hollywood industry. These people are finally being accused and possibly caught and taken down. It started with Harvey Weinstein, someone who I always knew was a scumbag. I heard the stories of how horrible he was and how degrading he was to people. But the fact that he was officially caught for all of these horrible things that he did was great. And it didn't stop there. People, crazily enough, like Kevin Spacey, all the way to recently Matt Lauer of the Today Show. And it doesn't just stop with Hollywood. This is now happening in politics, too. Al Franken, John Conyers, Roy Moore. Let me give you all a little piece of advice. Don't be a moron. And that means a person of every color, every creed, every ethnic background. Don't be a fool, okay? You have to have morals in your life. You have to know when to put up your walls. And more importantly, and this goes for everybody out there, you have to learn to keep it in your pants. Seriously, people. Morals, okay? Be reasonable. Be rational. Realize that you will get caught. And when you get caught, you will probably never be able to climb out of the hole that you have dug for yourself, because once the curtains are pulled back, no one is going to throw you a rope. And that leads us to number 1, which I comedically call the apprentidency. Yes, we've survived our first year under President Donald Trump, and it has definitely been one of the biggest roller coasters that politics and the world has ever seen. Whether it comes to a battle of words with Kim Jong-un, whether it comes with him going up against the mainstream media. his chances to push healthcare reform, tax reform, walking on a tightrope, wondering if people are even going to help him try and do decent things for the country. At the same time, there are people who believe that everything that he does, whether it is breathe, whether it is lick his lips, whether it is just raise his hand when he talks, people are disgusted by him. And at the same time, people adore him because of the fact that people are disgusted by him. Me, I didn't vote for the guy. I didn't vote in the election at all. So I have nothing to complain about, nor should I have anything to complain about, because I didn't have a say in this matter. I chose that. But at the same time, in regards to what I wanted for our world leader to do for this country, he is actually doing it. And for me, I'm actually very happy with what's been happening. My investments have been doing fabulously, thanks to a major boost in the economy. The fact that they are cracking down on people that don't belong in this country, and by people, I mean people who are not trying to become legal citizens. As a person who is a grandchild of immigrants, went to Ellis Island, forcing themselves to learn the English language, and they became model citizens of society who also contributed to Social Security, etc. I am more than willing to welcome anybody who is willing to be a part of this system and willing to contribute to making this country the best country that is out there. But if you do not, and you just want a free ride and you want the government to help you, then don't come here. Please leave. I don't want you here because you obviously don't care about being a true American citizen. Okay? That's what Make America Great Again is all about. People who want to come and be a part of this country is what makes America truly great. And that's what people like every single one of you are like. You are all people that are also showing us what it is like to be free. You are the ones that are expressing your freedom of speech, whether you agree or disagree. You are the ones that are allowing us all to have rational conversations while the talking heads on the television may say otherwise, while the extreme groups may say otherwise. Those of us with a brain in our heads are coming together to shake hands across the aisle and let each other know that even though we may not agree, we are proud Americans, and we are willing to share this country with each other. And that's my 10 events that shaped 2017, everybody. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please put your comments in the box below, and let's have a discussion. However, if you want to talk politics with me, I'm just going to let this out right now. A comment or a tweet, politics are an onion. There are way too many layers for a conversation. So please, send me a DM on Twitter and let's have a conversation about politics. I'm willing. I have done it all year. And let me just say this, I have been having a blast. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a happy and safe holiday season and New Year. And I will see you for another round of 10 for 12s in 2018. Take care. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.